Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out Google's Pixel Buds Pro. Now I know that these have been out for a little while, but I finally got my hands on them and have taken them through the test. And I can go ahead and say that this is definitely Google's best pair of earbuds that they've released yet, but these come in at $199. So we need to talk about the sound, we need to see what all comes inside the box, talk about the features, and see if it's actually worth the $199 price tag. Now to start with, if you are interested in checking these out, they are available in 4 different colors, and in Google's own creative way of naming the colors, you basically have charcoal, coral, fog, and lemongrass, which basically is black, orange, white, and yellow. Now some interesting things that they decided is they moved from a 12mm driver that they had used previously down to an 11mm. It does still have an IPX4 rating, which this is normal for pairs that have active noise canceling. And in fact, this is Google's first pair of earbuds to actually have active noise canceling. Now to pair these, it does obviously have Google's fast pair. So when you pop open the lid, it will just show you the pop-up connection on your phone. It's very easy to set up, and in fact it will open up the Pixel Buds app, and the first thing that it does is it will walk you through a fit test to make sure that you have the right fit. Mine initially had an update right out of the box, and within the app it does allow you to turn it on where you can hear your notifications. There aren't any specific EQ options other than the fact to turn on this EQ boost, which really only affects your audio quality at lower volume levels. It's trying to make it where you can still, feel bass and have a dynamic sound even if you're listening to these at a lower volume. Now it did say that later in an update it's supposed to give you a 5-band equalizer to be able to customize these, but as it is right now you only have that one option, and it really doesn't affect anything if you're listening to these at louder volumes anyway. Now also within the app, it does give you the ability to switch around some of your controls. It does have multi-point connection, which is huge, but it also has audio switch, which means that whatever device that you're connected to, if you're connected to more than one device at a time, if audio starts playing out of one device, it will just automatically switch over to that device. So it's switching it based off your audio, which I think is interesting. And then another feature that the app has is it does have a Find My Earbuds feature. So you can just play tones out of that earbud. It'll help locate it if you lost them in the couch. It will also locate it to the last place that you had a connection. So if you left them out at the park while you were using them, it'll be very easy to locate just in case you can't find your earbuds. Now moving over to talking about the noise canceling and the transparency mode. The noise canceling is actually very good on this pair. Now I will say it's still not as good as the Sony or the Bose, and that's kind of alarming because the price of these are getting very close to the Sony and the Bose. But these do a very good job of blocking out lower tones. The only thing I found that anything with like a higher tone, like people talking or something like that, that is still going to come through just as the same as if you're using any kind of earbuds. So do keep in mind this will be great for traveling with engine noises, or if you're in the house and you have an air conditioner unit, it will block that out. It just doesn't really block out people talking. Now when it comes to the transparency mode, this is one of the best transparency modes that I've tested. It does a very good job of making your surroundings sound natural. It doesn't give it too much of an artificial sound. And if somebody comes up to talk to you, these do a really good job of picking up that person's voice where you can carry on a conversation without actually having to take these out. But speaking of taking these out, they do have the smart sensors where if you do take it out of your ears, it will just automatically pause. And then it goes back to what you're listening to whenever you put them back in. Now, one thing that I thought was very interesting that Google decided with this pair is what they've included in the box. Now, it does come with the usual small, medium, and large silicone ear tips, but this is the first pair that I've seen that doesn't actually come with a charging cable. Now, I know that a lot of companies aren't including charging bricks and charging cables with other devices, but $200 for a pair of earbuds, I kind of expected to at least have a charging cable in here. Now, these do work with any wireless charger that you may have because these are Qi wireless compatible, but not having a charging cable is just an interesting decision. But speaking of the charging, battery life is actually very impressive on this pair. If you just decide to use them with the noise canceling off, you can actually get about 11 hours on the earbuds, with around 31 hours using the case. Now, if you decide to use them with the ANC on, that's going to bring your battery life down to 7 hours on the earbuds and about 24 hours using the case. Not allowing these to have high-end Bluetooth codecs allows you to have better battery life. It only has AAC and SBC, which is basically what the Apple AirPods Pro have, but AirPods are meant to be used with Apple devices mainly, and they don't give you anything above AAC anyway. So it's interesting that Google did not give you any aptX adaptive or LDAC or anything like that. But I personally would have liked the decision to decide if I wanted to use these in a certain Bluetooth mode and then kind of sacrifice battery life if I wanted to. But again, that's just going to come down to personal preference. And I didn't experience any kind of lag. I didn't experience any kind of hiccups with connections or anything like that. So again, although I'm complaining about the Bluetooth codec, I didn't have any issue with just using AAC with my Pixel device. Now, as far as the overall design and the look and everything of the earbuds and the case looks the same as previous Pixel Buds case. It looks like a little pebble. It has a smooth, like matte finish to it. Now, on the back, you have a pairing button. On the bottom, you have a USB-C input. And then around in the front, you have that one indicator light. That way you can kind of gauge how much battery life is on the case. Now, the earbuds, if you're just looking at them from the outside, they essentially look like a lot of the other Pixel Buds, but the actual design that goes into your ear canal is a whole lot different. These don't rely on the little ear fins that the A series had, but because there's not a lot of weight on these and no weight at all on the outside part, it doesn't wiggle around as much, and I found that these stayed in my ear very well. Now, as far as the actual controls on the earbuds, they do use both touch gestures and swipe gestures. And I am happy to say that you have control over everything. You would use the touch controls to be able to play, pause, skip your tracks forward, go backwards, and then you use the swipe gestures to actually control the volume. So now for you guys that do like to use your earbuds for phone calls, Google is using beamforming mics on here, and they actually have mesh over the microphones to block out wind. So if you're going to be using these outdoors, it's going to block out if there's any kind of heavy wind. But the beamforming mics are keeping these from picking up any of your surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a mic test using the Pixel Buds Pro, and overall I'm very impressed with the quality of the mics. I think it sounds fairly natural without sounding way too boomy or artificial. So this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is a mic test with a crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound, because I feel like the sound of these are actually very good out of the box. I still wish that they gave me these EQ options right now instead of just knowing that they're coming later. And in the previous version of Pixel Buds, there was always that bass boost feature, and they're not on the Pixel Buds Pro, which I think is also interesting. But as it is out of the box, I was very impressed with the bass response. Now, this is not a subwoofer type bass. This isn't an overly artificial type bass. It is very quick, but it does have a really nice punch to it. And what that is doing is keeping everything fairly clean, and it keeps these from sounding congested or muddy. And that also goes along very well with the fact that the mids and the treble on these are very clean and detailed as well. I felt like mids, no matter what genre I was listening to, came through extremely well. Now, I don't feel like they tried to push mids too forward where it sounded like the vocalist is just way in front of the mix. I felt like it blended very well, and that's even with listening to crazy, chaotic genres like metal. And the treble on these have a nice shine to them, but they're not close to being harsh. This is not an overly bright sounding treble, but it is still really clean. I would say if you're looking at these on an EQ curve, the bass is maybe boosted halfway and the treble's kind of boosted about the same. And the mids are only pushed slightly forward. So this isn't an overly dynamic sounding pair, but it's very clean and it's also extremely detailed. And that also lends to favor the soundstage and the sound imaging. These do sound like a fairly open sounding pair of earbuds. And these do an excellent job of being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall opinion is, yes, these are pricey. In fact, I put these in the category of a luxury pair of earbuds, and I find that it becomes harder to spend $200 on a pair of earbuds, especially when there's other pairs that are offering you higher end Bluetooth codecs that also have noise canceling, that also can maybe give you a little bit more when it comes to the bass. So there are some better options out there. I still think they are a better buy than going up to the Sony or the Bose. You're honestly going to save about 75 to 100 bucks. But just like other Pixel earbuds in the past, these are going to go on sale. And in fact, I think they'll probably go on sale somewhere between 150 to 175, which I can highly recommend them more in that price range. But if you want a luxury pair of earbuds that just works and you're going to get more features out of in the future, in fact, another feature that these are going to have that they don't have right now is spatial audio and head tracking. That's supposed to come in a future update, but I can't talk about that right now because mine just simply doesn't have that right now. But guys, that's my video on the brand new Google Pixel Buds Pro. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.